It's just two things that I did every day that allowed me to no longer have to have a boss and retire myself from the job racket and no longer live underneath the thumb of anybody that can tell me what to do ever again, especially a boss or a banker. So if that turns you on, he said if that turns you on. If that turns you on, stick around for this video. You might like what I have to say. Inside of 20 minutes every day, I say that on purpose because everyone's busy and I want you to visualize this for yourself. But inside of 20 minutes every day, first thing I would do, I would invite people to look at an online business that I had. And my invitation wasn't for them to join or to sign up, it was just to look at it. And here's what it would look like. I still do this to this day, by the way. In fact, many of you have been invited by me at least once or twice before. But the invitation looks something like this. Hey Jane, I got a business. Keeps me out of trouble. LOL. I like it. You might like it too. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would. Would you like to take a look at it? If you would, cool. If not, no big deal. Take care. And of the people that check their messages, more than half, almost all of them actually, but well over half of them would write back and say, okay, sure. I didn't get resistance. I didn't get treated weird. None of that stuff that we are all afraid of. That didn't happen. Curiosity has peaked, not resistance. Because I want you to visualize that. Yes, I do. So that's the first thing I would do inside of 20 minutes. I would give myself these goals of how many people I was going to invite to look at it. And then the people that, said, yeah, sure, okay, sure, Tom, I would send them a video. And I'd say, cool, here's the video, and after you watch it, tell me what you'd like most from what you heard that relates to any goals that you have. I'd love to hear about it. Something along those lines, I'd say. And then they'd watch, and they'd get back to me, and it's almost always a positive response. Then I'm like, okay, cool, I'm glad you liked it. Would you like to do this with me? Or sometimes I'd say, would you like to do this now? Or do you want to get started later? Do you need some time to do this or that? Or what would you like to do? I'll support whatever you want to do, basically is what I was saying in various ways. And still, the resistance, not happening. Curiosity, interest, peaked, yes. So we would move forward. And people that said, Tom, not really my thing, but thanks for sharing it with me. And people would actually say that because in the beginning, I said, you might like it, you might not, I don't know. But if you want to, cool. If not, no big deal. I would say those kinds of things beforehand. And so if, they ended up not liking it, not their thing, they could be free to say it without feeling weird. And then what would I say if they would turn out to not be interested? I would say, okay, cool. Thanks for checking it out. Take care. That's really about it. And so typically people respond to that with, wow, Tom, you're pretty cool. You're an all right guy. Thanks, man. And isn't that interesting? Because all of us, you, me, are used to people being really weird if we're not into their deal. And maybe some pressure and just overall weirdness. So this is a breath of fresh air. And this is what I teach. And it's so simple. I mean, people are basically taught how to build this thing just by going through one of my invitation processes, because that's what it's like. It's like when somebody gets in, it's like literally, okay, cool. Well, you've just had your initial training, so to speak. Welcome to the team. I'm so glad you want to do this with me. And you remember how I invited you? That's it. There's your training. But, just in case you don't have it memorized, I got it all down in a document anyway, so you can use it as a guide. And that's it, guys and girls. That's it. So that's like one of the things that's the invitation process. So that's number one. The second thing that I would do every day. Oh, by the way, before I get to the second thing, a lot of people that said no and then would say, Tom, you're a pretty cool guy. Thanks for not making me feel weird like everyone else has. A lot of those people that say no initially will come back later and say, hey, Tom, remember the thing you invited me to months ago or whatever? I want to do this now, so show me what to do. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, all right, let's go. That happens a lot too because they weren't made to feel alienated or weird. So visualize that for yourself if you have any interest in this. Visualize that for yourself, how cool that would be. I've made so many friends that never join my deal. Some of them have, some don't, but I've made so many friends in the process. And of course, life is just richer making more friends that way too. It's pretty cool. All right, so the second thing that I would do every day is just scroll up and down my newsfeed or my timeline or whatever they're calling it these days, and you'll see what I mean. I'm talking about stuff that I'm passionate about. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, visualize yourself being able to talk about it in ways where you're not going to have a boss scrolling your, or a potential boss or whatever scrolling your profile that could use it against you at the job, or maybe that's not a fear of yours, but for whatever reason you're just very maybe reserved and fearful and shy, nervous, whatever, about being yourself. Imagine getting to be yourself. You talk about whatever topics that you want to talk about, and you do it using your own language and your own voice, and you develop that more. And the more you develop your own authenticity and pull more of yourself out of you, the more fun it becomes. I crave it. Some people see social media as a silly thing, and it's like, I don't know, I'm out here creating all this impact with people's lives, as well as my own security and freedom of my time. Facebook is pretty sweet. Social media is pretty sweet. And a lot of people are not using it for those reasons at all, so it's kind of silly for a lot of people. But that's the second thing. I would at least once a day talk about something, whether it be video or text or a picture or a combination. I'll just throw it out there on social media and have a lot of fun with it. And now I'm attracting all these people organically that are attracted to me and not a false representation of myself, but they're attracted to me. So these friendships and these connections, these relationships are real, they're organic, they're beautiful, regardless if they ever get into my deal or not. And a lot of them do, a lot of them don't. It's really cool either way, because it just is. So those are the two things. Oh, yeah, you know what? There actually is kind of a third thing. It's not an actionable thing so much, but I've learned that I love free, critical thinking, contrarian thinking people. And free, critical thinking people are developing their amazing brains every day, at least a little bit. Because what happens if you don't develop your brain, you don't emotionally mature yourself, spiritually mature, learn new skills, these kinds of things, pick up better philosophies, better ideas than you had yesterday. If you don't do these things, then you're pushed around by these outside influences. Stimulus outside of your brain pushes you around, and you're living by default, by whatever direction the wind blows and how the direction changes of the winds. You're just going to be pushed around like a rag doll by your circumstances. People are pushed around by their circumstances all the time. Maybe you are. So developing your brain gives you control back of your life. You can start to control not your circumstances, but how you respond to what happens to you. Because remember this is a perfect analogy. It's picture a little sailboat out in the middle of the open lake. And there's the wind blowing all around, which represents the outside circumstances. And your sail on your boat represents your brain. So it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination. It's the set of your sail. You change the set of your sail by developing your brain a little bit each day. And you control your destination. Your circumstances now, it's just wind that you need to get to where you want to be, which you are in control of your destination. Cool analogy, hey? So that's it. Those two actionable things, and then that third thing, which helps make everything else a lot better. So if any part of this turned you on, you want to know more about this, I'm going to practice what I preach. I like it. I think you might like it too. Maybe not. Maybe you would. I don't know. I got another video where I go much deeper into what these activities look like, but it really is that simple. But if you'd like to know more about this, let me know. I'll share it with you. And if it turns out to turn you on, we'll lock arms and we'll do it. And if it turns out to not be your thing, it's no big deal. Not at all. We'll still be friends anyway. And I think you'll find it pretty refreshing that you can say no to a business and things don't get weird. So reach out to me and I'll reach back to you. And if you know somebody who might like this video, share it with them. You know somebody that maybe you want to do this with that person, or you want someone else to look at this with you, share it with them. And let's do this as a beautiful team with like a family kind of vibe. And I've also got my website if you want to check me out more and more of my postings and stuff, content, fireyourboss.xyz, not .com.xyz, fireyourboss.xyz. All right, with that, I'll be hearing from quite a few of you very soon. Take care. Bye for now.